3, 2, 1. You ready? You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, gays and gays. This is the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, here. Hope you're all having a great night, day, weekend, whenever you're checking this out. I've got a review for the latest Bruce Willis, John Travolta film in Paradise City, which is directed and co-written by Chuck Russell, who, Chuck Russell, you know from several things, most likely The Mask, A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Scorpion King, of course, and Eraser, which is one of the best 90s movies. It's so underrated. I fucking love Eraser. But I digress. So, Paradise City stars Bruce Willis and John Travolta. Bruce Willis, of course, you know from an absurd amount of content. Is it Moonlighting? Yeah. Why is it Moonlighting on streaming? I've only seen like a couple episodes, but I keep hearing how great that show is, and that's something I actually really like to watch. But, you know him right now, of course, from Paradise City, of course, Looper, Pulp Fiction, Sixth Sense, oh my gosh, I can keep going. Fifth Element, which speaking of great 90s movies, Fifth Element fucking rules. Huge Bruce Willis fan, and of course, Glass and Unbreakable. Unbreakable, I think I'll continue to say Unbreakable is one of the most underrated films in the last 30 years. Fight me, that movie fucking rules. And John Travolta is someone that, as a kid, because I was never a big Grease fan. I know, everyone, put down your torches. I was never a huge into Grease when I was a kid, but it was one of those movies I did go back and watch and went, this movie is actually pretty damn good, and Travolta is just a charming motherfucker. I think Be Cool is actually horribly underrated, but you know him, of course, from Get Shorty, Pulp Fiction, Grease, Saturday Night Fever. Michael's a really good movie. People sleep on Michael, but he also did Gotti, and goddammit, I hate Gotti so much, and The Fanatic, but I digress. So, here's what I'm going to say about this movie. This is definitely the straight to DVD action type vibe. But I gotta say, what elevates this movie above something that you would just Redbox is the fact that Bruce Willis and John Travolta, they really do bring it in this. I was getting Taking of Pelham 123 villain vibes from John Travolta. And so the plot as it stands is Bruce Willis plays Ian Swan. Ian Swan is like a bounty hunter, works outside the lines of a typical policeman. He has been hunting John Travolta's Bucky for years, we find out. And Bucky has all these ties to corruption and to the island of Maui that they're on, and just has his hands in all sort of different pots as far as corruption. And the movie starts off, this is not a spoiler, with Bruce Willis getting gunned down. And you're like, oh my god, they killed Bruce Willis, what the fuck? And so then it's up to his son, Blake Jenner's Ryan Swan, to go ahead and avenge his father and bring down Bucky with the help of Robbie Cole, who's played by Stephen goddamn Dorff, which I will get to Stephen Dorff in a second, but you know Blake Jenner from my favorite film of 2016, In the Edge of 17. He also was in America, Everybody Wants Some. And if you have not seen The Edge of 17 and Everybody Wants Some, please go watch both of those right now. You can totally pause the recording, go back, watch those, and come back. He was also recently in American Animals, but some of you older folks like myself probably know him from Glee. And what's really interesting is that Blake Jenner has that look of someone who should be doing action movies, like a lot more. And when I was going through his filmography and thinking about it, I was sitting here kind of surprised in the sense that, son of a bitch, this is the first action movie he's been in. And he gets to star alongside Bruce Willis and John Travolta. Not a bad way to make your action debut. And what I really did dig about this movie is that you get the trailer itself teases John Travolta versus Bruce Willis. And something that I really do appreciate in the way that there are points where there are flashbacks to Bruce Willis, because of course he's gunned down at the start of the film. I really like the way that there's this one scene in particular in a restaurant, and you'll know it when you get there. Buckley's sitting there nursing his drink. Bruce Willis walks in, and they start to have the classic, tough guy dialogue back and forth. And so Buckley tells one of his henchmen to make sure that Ian, quote, sees his way out, unquote. Of course, Buckley's one of his associates tries to body up Ian, and Bruce Willis is like, motherfucker, I'm Bruce Willis, and goes ahead and takes his ass out and goes back to Travolta's table, and Buckley is rightfully like, what the hell just happened? And I'm probably butchering the line, but Ian goes, oh yeah, he need to cool off or something like that. Classic tough guy one-liner. I went, you know what? I mean, obviously sending prayers out to Bruce Willis, but man, Bruce Willis though, that gear is still there, and that gear is still there for Travolta as well. When I saw Glass, and if you've listened to the channel for a little while, you know how much I love Bruce Willis in Glass. That gear is still here. That charming Bruce Willis that we all fell in love with, that guy, that John McClane gear, as it were. That gear's still here, and when you get to see Bruce Willis get to show out a little bit, it's really cool to actually see that. It's like, goddamn, like Bruce Willis can still do this. And there is a scene with Travolta talking to Blake Jenner after Ryan goes ahead and gets into some trouble with Steven Dorff, and I'll kind of leave it vague to not get into spoilers. But Travolta, in the nicest, most threatening way possible, just goes, it's probably a good idea if you just get out of town. You should just leave and not come back. And the way that Jenner sells it, he kind of looks at him, what do you mean by that? And Buckley's like, oh, no. I mean, I'm not saying anything would go wrong, but I'm just saying you should probably leave town and not come back. And it's done in this way that I went, oh, that's funny, but just villainous enough. It's walking that line of cheese that I really appreciate. I gotta say, the biggest surprise for me has got to be Priya Lumberg, who plays Savannah, who helps Ryan out in his attempt to go ahead and take down Buckley. So I know she's done quite a bit of acting over in not in the States. I know she's done a lot of like humanitarian work and stuff, and I got to give her a lot of credit because she doesn't really have a ton of like action. Well, actually, I apologize. She actually does have some action credentials, again, outside of the U.S. This is really her first big U.S. thing. And she goes ahead and steps into this because it's hard to play a cop in general right now. I mean, especially right now in the climate, but it's hard to play a cop, let alone one who doesn't feel like she's acquiescing to the man. And I will be the first to admit, when she kind of popped up, I went, oh, don't play this girl. She actually seems like she's cool. Like, this, don't undercut her. And the movie really doesn't. Savannah's actually more competent than Ryan is at pretty much every turn, and it actually feels done very intentionally, but it's actually funny because there's just these points where you can just see Savannah looking at him like, dude, what are you trying to do? You're going to get us killed. And yeah, it is done somewhat for comedy, but at the same time, there is that overlay of Ryan is so pissed off about his dad and about the perceived things that his dad did to him. And the film does a good job of fleshing that out as it goes on. But she has a screen presence that I'm just sitting here going, all right, Marvel or DC, where is she going to end up? Like, she has that sort of charisma. And in something like this, where she's acting alongside Travolta and Willis, I got to give her a ton of props. This is a really, really, really good debut for her. And I look forward to seeing what else she does. I mentioned Chuck Russell earlier, and of course he's directed some great action stuff. And for me, a big star of this movie is the action. The action is done really well. There's this scene where there's this big shootout pretty early on in the film, maybe 20-ish minutes in, because Ryan and Robbie are going ahead and they're investigating this lead that Ian might have left behind. And one thing I appreciate about this is that there's a shootout in this hotel. There's a couple chase scenes. There's some stuff in a strip club. There's a MMA type fight. Like the stuff is very varied as far as how it's directed and as far as the different locales. And you really do feel like you're getting a very encompassing experience of Maui, which I really did appreciate. The director in Russell did a really great job with that. Outside of that, I mentioned him earlier, but to touch on him just real quick, Stephen Dorff, man. I know people kind of give Stephen Dorff shit. I really liked him in this. He has, when you find out how him and Ryan are connected, it's one of those things where you go, oh, fuck, that's uncomfortable. But you understand why Ryan is hesitant to ask for help, let alone accept it. And there are just some surprises in this movie, especially in... you know what? That's spoilery. Never mind. There are some surprises in how things go ahead and unfold, and I'll leave it at that. That he went, you know what? I'm having fun with this. This isn't something that, you know, if I had paid full price in the theater, I'd be like, oh man, that was worth it. But for a solid, like, Saturday afternoon matinee, I really enjoyed this. I thought this was fun. Grade. I'm gonna say... Damn, now I'm kind of thinking that. I'm gonna give this a B-. I thought this was actually for a fun 90, just over 90-minute action flick. I had a lot of fun with this. I thought this was fun. And I mentioned it earlier, but Miss Lundberg, she really does elevate this for me. And I mentioned it earlier, I look forward to seeing what she does next. But yeah, as the action does go on, it does increase, not just in tension, but in impact. There is this one scene, as far as right before the third act kicks into gear, that's very heartbreaking and very violent in a way that I went, oh, damn, okay. So there are some real surprises with this, and yeah, I had fun with this, but yeah, solid B-. But you can check this out, I believe on VOD right now. But yeah, everyone, Paradise City, have you seen it? What'd you think of it? Let us know in the comments. If you're listening to this right now, you can actually go on our channel and check out my review with the film's director in Chuck Russell. We got to talk about the movie, talked about his career. It's a fun interview. It's about 40 minutes, but I hope you all enjoy it. But you can check out that review. You can go and check out that interview. That's up on the channel right now. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. You can go ahead and like both our pages on the Facebook at The Real Pineapple and Real Pineapple Games. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can find us on SoundCloud, Apple, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Samsung Podcasts at The Real Pineapple. And don't forget to follow yours truly, on Instagram at JHunterRealPineapple. And you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/JHunterRealPineapple. I apologize again for the radio silence, y'all, but my partner and I have just been moving, so we're just getting settled into our new home. So reviews will be coming out back on a regular schedule here as we head into December, into the holidays. But thank you so much for listening, everyone. As I mentioned, you can go ahead and check out my interview with Chuck Russell that is live on the channel now. And here in the next week, I will have my review up for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Got a lot to say about that movie, so I'll be a bit of a tough review, but I'm excited to review it. And then we're going to go ahead and kick off the holiday season with some reviews, including, what am I going to review? I'm going to review National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, because I actually haven't watched that in probably 15 years, so I'm actually going to watch that. And I've never been crazy about the movie, but I'm going to give it a chance. But I'm going to go ahead and review that. Going to review Klaus, because I've been wanting to review Klaus for the last couple of years. I have not gotten around to it. I'm going to review Klaus. Going to review some other stuff as well. I'm deciding what everything I'm going to review for the holidays, but I'll update y'all on that here soon. But everyone, thank you so much for listening. Take care of each other. Stay safe out there. Give someone a hug. We all need a hug right now, but prayers up to Colorado Springs. If you are a member of the LGBTQ community, please know that you're loved, you're special, we love you. Please stay safe out there, and just know we're with you. But thank you so much for listening, everyone, and we'll talk to you soon.